In the second half of section 2.3, we're going to continue to solve multiple step equations. The other day we solved equations where we had x's where we were combining them on the same side of the equation. Today we're going to deal with the issue of what do we do if we have fractions. So in this first problem you see we have m over 4 plus m over 2 equals 5 over 8. Sometimes traditionally you might try to combine these fractions first and then multiply by the reciprocal, but I'd like to show you a different method. First I'd like to identify what is the LCD of our fractions. Between 4, 2, and 8, hopefully you can recognize the fact that the LCD is going to be 8. Then our goal is going to be, as we have at the top here, to clear our equation of any fractions and decimals. And the way we do this is by multiplying each of our fractions by 8. So we multiply the left side by 8. 8 times m over 4 plus 8 times m over 2 equals 8 times 5/8. Now, when we're multiplying a whole number times a fraction, you'll notice I wrote each of my 8's as very small numbers somewhat in the top part of the problem. Let's think of each of these as 8 over 1. So put an over 1 underneath each part. Now, our purpose in doing this is to transform our equation into an equation with fractions, which is fairly difficult, to an equation that's very simple. Watch what happens. Let's cancel. The 8 and the 4 cancel to a 2. The 8 and the 2 cancel to a 4. And the 8 and the 8 cancel to a 1. Now we have 2 times m is 2m. Plus 4 times m is 4m equals 5 times 1, which is 5. Solving this equation from here, we get 6m equals 5. And remember, we're lining up our equal signs on these problems. We divide both sides now by 6, because that's the opposite of timesing, and we get our answer of m equals 5/6. So, let's go through now and check this. Remembering on our problems and on our homework, all of our problems we're going to do on the left side and check them on the right side. So, let's take our 5/6 and divide it by 4, plus our 5/6 divided by 2 equals 5/8. Now this is similar to a problem we had last chapter. Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to change each of these dividing parts to multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's timesing by a fourth, timesing by a half. Now let's go through and figure it out. That's 5 over 24 plus 5 over 12 equals 5 over 8. It just so happens that they're all 5s. Well, from there we need to get a common denominator. Our LCD is 24. So, that said, we're going to try to get everything written as 24ths. So we have 5 over 24. 12 times 2 is 24. So 5 times 2 is 10. 8 times 3 is 24. So 5 times 3 is 15. And now you can see that the 5 plus 10 does equal 15. It does check, and we circle our answer. A check with a fraction is a little bit more difficult, but it's still doable, and it's a great chance to practice our fraction manipulation. Let's look at problem number 2. We have our denominators of 2 and 4. So, my LCD, as you think about it, well, you write it down. What do you think the LCD is? Hopefully you said it was 4. So let's multiply each of our problems by 4 over 1. So here we go. Plus 4 over 1 times x over 4 minus 4 over 1 times 4 equals 4 over 1 times 13. Remember, whatever you do to 1, you have to do to everything. The same thing to both sides. Now we're going to cancel. 2, 1, no canceling and no canceling. We now multiply across, and we get 6x plus 1x minus 16 equals 52. 52 is 4 times 13. Now let's combine our like terms. I'm going to underline those. We combine those together to get 7x minus 16 equals 52. To undo the minus 16, we're going to add 16. That gives us 7x equals 68. To To try to solve this, we're going to have to divide both sides by 7x, or just 7, excuse me. That gives us x equals 68 over 7. Now, in these two examples, our problems have not been nice, neat answers. That's not always going to be the case. Sometimes your answers will work out nice and neatly. Sometimes they won't. Let's go back and plug this back in and check it. 3 times 68 over 7 divided by 2 plus 68 over 7 divided by 4 minus 4 equals 13. As we work through this, we're going to try to simplify this and go, that's 3 over 1 times 68 over 7 times 1 over 2 plus 68 over 7 times 1 over 4 minus 4 equals 13. Let's try to simplify here. 3 times 68 is 204 divided by 14. Here we have 68 over 28 minus 4 equals 13. Let's reduce each of these as much as we can. It looks like we have a common potential denominator here. 204 divided by 14, both divide by 2. That leaves us 102 over 7. 68 and 28 both divide by 4. 68 divided by 2 is 34. 34 divided by 2 is 17. So 17 over 7 minus 4 equals 13. Now we're going to combine these and get 119 over 7 minus 4 equals 13. Well, 119 over 7 is 17. And 17 minus 4 equals 13. Once again, that's a very, very difficult, I would say, check, but it's something that is doable, and it's something that maybe you could check on your calculator and turn them into decimals to make sure that it works. But with that fact it's checked, we go back and box our answer, and there we have our first two examples.